Sometimes a single image tells 1,000 stories, and right now there's one photo that has the entire basketball world doing detective work. Caitlin Clark, fresh off withdrawing from All-Star Weekend due to injury, wasn't just sitting in the stands watching her team get outplayed by the Liberty. She was actively engaged in what appeared to be a substantial business conversation. Here's what caught everyone's attention. Sandy Brondello, Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and Clark's agent Aaron Kane all huddled together in what looked like anything but a casual post-game chat. The setting was intimate, the participants were all key decision makers, and the timing was absolutely fascinating. You know what makes this photo so intriguing? It happened right after the Liberty just demonstrated exactly what championship-level basketball looks like, dismantling the Fever 98-77, while Clark could only watch from the sidelines. And instead of heading straight home after a tough night, Clark chose to have what appears to be a very strategic conversation with one of the league's most successful organizations. What was discussed in that circle? Why was her agent there? And what does this mean for the future of the WNBA's most marketable star? Let's break down what we're really looking at here. To understand why this photo has everyone talking, we need to look at the bigger picture of Clark's current situation. Her 2025 season has been marked by a series of challenges that would test any professional athlete's patience and long-term planning. Clark suffered her latest groin injury in the final minute of Tuesday's win over Connecticut, marking her fourth different muscle injury this season. For someone who had been remarkably durable throughout college and her first WNBA season, these recurring physical setbacks represent a new reality she's having to navigate. The impact on her team is undeniable. Without Clark on the court, the Fever dropped to 4-6 in games this season, highlighting just how central she is to their success. Wednesday night's 21-point loss to the Liberty was a perfect example of how different Indiana looks when their franchise player isn't available. Meanwhile, the Liberty delivered a masterclass performance with Stewart posting 24 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, and 4 blocks. They looked like a championship team firing on all cylinders, finishing the first half of their season with a 15-6 record. But here's what makes this story fascinating and why you should hit that like button if you're curious about how these player relationships develop. The contrast between the two organizations couldn't have been more apparent that night. The presence of Aaron Kane, Clark's agent, in this post-game conversation is what elevates this from casual interaction to something worth analyzing. Agents typically don't involve themselves in routine post-game socializing unless there's substance to the discussion. This suggests the conversation went beyond pleasantries and into territory that could impact Clark's career decisions. While we can't know exactly what was discussed, the optics alone tell a story about relationship building and future possibilities. Sabrina Ionescu has been consistently complimentary of Clark throughout their matchups. After their June meeting, she said, "On a personal level, I'm really happy to see her back out on the court healthy, feeling good." These aren't just polite competitor comments, they suggest genuine respect and possibly the foundation for future collaboration. Stewart has also been vocal about appreciating Clark's impact on the league. When established stars make a point of publicly supporting a player from another team, it often indicates interest in potentially playing together someday. Here's where the timing gets really interesting. Due to a coaching trade during the All-Star draft, Clark and Ionescu are now teammates for the All-Star game, coached by Sandy Brondello. This gives Clark a weekend to experience what it's like working within the Liberty system and culture. Think about this from Clark's perspective. She gets to spend concentrated time with championship-caliber players and coaching, seeing firsthand how a successful organization operates. These experiences often plant seeds for future career considerations. The fact that Clark specifically requested this coaching arrangement through the trade suggests she's already interested in learning from Brondello's approach to the game. What's becoming apparent is the contrast between how different organizations handle their star players. The Liberty have built a culture around maximizing talent while maintaining player health and satisfaction. Their 15-6 record reflects organizational competence at every level. Clark has dealt with multiple injuries this season and hasn't played more than 5 consecutive games. While injuries can happen to anyone, the pattern raises questions about workload management and support systems. The Liberty's fast-paced, high-scoring offense would suit Clark's playing style perfectly. They emphasize ball movement, three-point shooting, and transition opportunities, all areas where Clark excels. Meanwhile, questions persist about whether Indiana's system maximizes her unique abilities. While Clark is under contract with Indiana through her rookie deal, 2028 represents a pivotal moment when she'll have the freedom to choose her next destination. But here's what makes this timeline even more interesting. The entire WNBA landscape is about to change dramatically. The WNBA players opted out of their collective bargaining agreement in October 2024, meaning the current CBA expires after the 2025 season instead of its original 2027 expiration date. Union President Nneka Ogwumike called this a defining moment for the league, and the potential financial implications are staggering. According to reports, the current salary cap could potentially increase significantly from $1.5 million per team, with one team source suggesting maximum salaries could potentially reach $1 million annually. Though these are early projections and ongoing negotiations. Think about what this means for Clark specifically. She's currently making around $78,000 on her rookie contract, a figure that generated national debate when you consider an economist at Indiana University calculated that she was responsible for approximately $36 million in economic impact to Indianapolis. Meanwhile, the first overall NBA draft pick in 2023 signed a 4-year, $55 million contract. The Liberty have several advantages if they were to pursue Clark when she becomes available. They have championship experience, organizational stability, and a playing style that would complement her skills. But most importantly, they'll likely have enhanced financial flexibility under the new CBA to offer Clark compensation that better reflects her value to the league. From Clark's perspective, playing in New York would offer maximum exposure, championship potential, and the chance to team up with established stars who have already proven they can win at the highest level. Plus, with the new media rights deal bringing in approximately $200 million annually starting in 2026, the financial opportunities will be unprecedented. Professional sports are ultimately about business decisions, and Clark's representatives have to consider all possibilities for her career when the entire economic structure of the WNBA is potentially about to be revolutionized. The meeting with Liberty personnel could simply be about building relationships and gathering information about different organizational approaches during this transformative period. Here's the context that changes everything. Clark signed a 4-year, $338,056 rookie contract with Indiana, making roughly $78,000 this season. To put that in perspective, she made an estimated $3.4 million in NIL deals during her senior year at Iowa and signed an 8-year, $28 million endorsement deal with Nike. The economic disparity between her WNBA salary and her actual market value is significant. But the CBA negotiations could change this reality substantially. Players are pushing for an equity-based model that grows with the league's success, and with the new media rights deal worth approximately $200 million annually, the financial possibilities are unprecedented. While specific salary projections are still being negotiated, reports suggest significant increases from the current $249,000 and $244 Supermax are being discussed. Smart agents maintain connections throughout the league to understand their options when these potential changes take effect. This conversation might be less about immediate moves and more about strategic positioning for when the new CBA could transform the economic landscape of women's basketball. The Liberty's interest, if it exists, makes perfect sense from their perspective too. Adding a player of Clark's caliber would further cement their status as a dynasty and bring additional marketing value to an already successful franchise. For the Fever, this photo serves as a reminder that retaining star players requires more than just contractual obligations when the entire league is potentially undergoing massive financial transformation. Organizations need to demonstrate they can provide the support, culture, and competitive environment that elite players expect, especially when those players may soon have enhanced earning potential. Clark's recurring injuries and the team's struggles without her highlight areas where Indiana might need to improve their approach. Whether that's in medical staff, training protocols, or roster construction, successful retention often requires organizational evolution. The stakes could be even higher if the new CBA creates more competitive balance and revenue opportunities. The positive news for Indiana is that Clark has consistently expressed commitment to building something special with the Fever. However, her public statements about staying a few more years rather than my entire career suggest she's keeping her options open as the landscape evolves. Here's what Indiana needs to understand about the changing reality. Economic analysis suggests Clark has had an enormous impact on league visibility and revenue. She helped drive record viewership, unprecedented merchandise sales, and turned Indianapolis into a basketball destination. Under any new CBA structure, organizations that can't properly support and maximize generational talent will face significant competitive disadvantages. As Clark recovers from her latest injury and looks ahead to the remainder of the 2025 season, these relationships with players and coaches from other teams provide valuable perspective on her career development. The All-Star Weekend will be particularly interesting to watch. Seeing Clark work alongside Liberty players and coaching staff will give fans a glimpse of what that potential collaboration might look like, even if it's just for one game. Her performance and comfort level in that environment could influence future conversations about where she sees her career heading. What this photo really represents is the natural evolution of professional sports relationships. Players, agents, and organizations are constantly building connections that might benefit them down the road. Clark's situation is unique because of her profile and impact on the league, but the underlying dynamics are common throughout professional sports. Star players explore their options, teams express interest in elite talent, and agents facilitate conversations that might lead to future opportunities. The Liberty's approach appears to be about relationship building rather than aggressive pursuit. They're positioning themselves as an attractive option while respecting Clark's current commitments and letting her career timeline play out naturally. Whether this conversation leads to anything concrete remains to be seen, but the timing couldn't be more significant. Clark might ultimately decide that staying in Indiana gives her the best opportunity to build something special from the ground up, especially with potential CBA changes that could create enhanced competitive balance and financial opportunities. Or she might determine that joining an established championship culture like the Liberty offers the best path to her goals, particularly when salary structures may be significantly restructured and the financial gap between teams could become less significant. What's certain is that having options and maintaining relationships throughout the league puts Clark in a strong position to make the best decision for her career when these potential changes take effect. The new CBA negotiations will likely influence how star players think about their careers and market value. The WNBA benefits regardless of where Clark ends up playing. The fact that players voted overwhelmingly to opt out of their current agreement shows the entire league is united in pushing for substantial change. Clark's success and the speculation around her future generate interest and discussion that elevate the entire league's profile during these crucial negotiations. With the league expanding to 15 teams by 2026, new media deals bringing in enhanced revenue, and salary structures potentially being restructured, we're witnessing the evolution of women's professional basketball in real time. The photo of Clark with Liberty representatives might just be the first glimpse of how star players will navigate this evolving landscape. For fans, this photo represents the kind of behind-the-scenes relationship building that makes professional sports fascinating. We're getting a glimpse into how star players and successful organizations think about the future and position themselves for continued success. What do you think about this situation? Is it natural relationship building or something more strategic? Do you see Clark eventually exploring other options, or will she build her legacy in Indiana? Share your thoughts in the comments and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on because this story will definitely have more chapters as it develops.